Hi everybody and welcome to the Mental Toughness and Body Show. My name is Rob Evans and I'm your weight loss coach, health strategist and internationally published author, helping take your life, your business, your mindset, your body and health from where you are right now to becoming completely unstoppable. And today's topic of conversation is, are you making success overwhelming? Now, what I find is the various parts of the business that I run, it can be easy to fall into the trap of comparing yourself to others and what other people are doing in your same field. My 52 years on this planet has made me realize that no matter how good you are at something, or no matter how good someone is at something, there is always someone else out there that is better, or does it better, or does it differently, or does it better in a way that you think is better. It may not be better to that person, but there's somebody else that perhaps does it better. And I think when you look at say people like Jeff Bezos, if it's like even like Tony Robbins or Richard Branson or Elon Musk or Steve Jobs, even though he's no longer with us, but you look at those people and you try and compare yourself to those people, the reality for most of us is we are not going to be as successful as those people if you determine success as having the global reach of your name, your brand, having multiple $1 billion, more money than you can count. Most of us aren't going to be in that situation. And when it comes to us looking at those people, we can think, that is so overwhelming, I am never even going to be close to that. I'm not going to perhaps work as hard. I'm not going to, listen, if you like, to what they're doing, because you just can't relate to it. Because right now you've got a circle of friends, people that you'll have conversations with, people that you spend time with, and you feel comfortable doing that. But at some point you weren't friends, you weren't colleagues, you weren't lovers, whatever, and you built that relationship to make that happen. And for you right now thinking, oh, well, gosh, having a conversation with one of these really super mega successful people is just so far removed from you right now that you think, oh, I wouldn't know what to say. I couldn't imagine how I could put myself in the same room as that person to be able to have that conversation. I just think, wow, I can't see how I could be as successful as them. I just can't understand how they do what they do, how they've made those decisions. And you just become a little bit overwhelmed, and in many cases you can become immobilized because you think that's just too hard to achieve. That level of success is just too hard to achieve. And I get that. In the space that I work in, there are many people that you could look at around the world to say, wow, these are really successful people. And, pardon me, what I think brought health and fitness to the fore many years ago, gosh, it's probably 20 or more years ago now, was The Biggest Loser. And Jillian Michaels and Bob Harper, they were the ones that in the US that really set health and fitness on fire. They put it on primetime TV, turned into a reality TV show, and it's exploded, probably Jillian's profile more than Bob's, but they then brought that to Australia. And then that's when Michelle Bridges and his name's escaped me right now, but Michelle Bridges has been the one that's really taken off there, and look how much of a global icon, or more so in Australia, but an icon that she is in the health and fitness industry. All started from the Biggest Loser from the US coming out here and doing its thing here. Now, those four people, they have their own way of delivering health and fitness. And if you ever watch the show, you would see that each one of them are different. Like Bob, he was the kind of the nice guy. He could still be a bit of a hard trainer, but not like Jillian. She was the beast, and that was kind of why she was, I guess, more popular. And then similar here, Michelle Bridges kind of played that character in Australia as well. Now that's their approach. And then there are other weight loss people around the world that perhaps do it a little bit differently. There's the people that have done all the DVD series, and so as Michelle and Gillian, but everybody's got their own little touch on it. They do it just a little bit differently. And you think, wow, how could I ever be like them? Well, here's the thing. When you think you're getting overwhelmed, you have to think, well, don't try and replicate yourself, okay? So today don't try and replicate someone else. So here's the thing. I was thinking this morning about what are the principles that we could look at of success so that this wasn't so overwhelming. Because if you're listening to this right now, if you're on this podcast platform, then most likely you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, you are driven to succeed. You probably already have a tremendous amount of success, but you want more. And that's what successful people want. They keep on wanting more and more. So I've written down a couple of things here. And the first one is this is a success principle. What I've done is looked at all of these successful people and thought, well, how can us commoners, if you like, relate to somebody like Jeff Bezos and Steve Jobs and Elon Musk and all those people? And I thought, well, the main thing that I see that stands out to me in looking at them is that they have this continuous improvement mindset. Every single moment of the day, they want to be getting better. It doesn't matter what they do, they come out with a great product. I mean, just look at the iPhone, for instance. What that started with, they looked at all the other phones. They weren't first to market, and they said, well, what are the things that we don't like about the mobile phone? And let's remove the keypad. Let's remove that to start with, so that you don't have to, be pressing all those buttons and that kind of stuff. And have the first phone that had a touch the glass and, oh, look, a button and a letter of the alphabet works and all that kind of stuff. And then they started with the iPhone, and then it went to, well, what are we up to now? iPhone 11. And they just continually improve. And that's what everybody's doing. Look at Jeff Bezos. They started as just being an online bookstore. And now look at how many millions of products that they distribute around the globe. It's quite remarkable. So continually looking to improve. And that all comes from the mindset. So this is something that you can do. I've conditioned myself over of probably close to a decade now I'm sorry I didn't do it earlier, but of making sure that I have this continuous improvement mindset. And what's interesting about that is the last position I held as a senior manager in corporate world before I started to run my own business 12 years ago was called a business improvement manager. And it's always stuck to me because our main job was continuously improving the 600 odd staff that we were responsible for. And it was something that I brought into my business to say, well, I want to continually improve. I want to continuously improve myself. I was doing that with my body and my health, which was one of the big drivers as to why I moved into this business. But it's something that, even though the richest people in the world can do it, you can do this too. You just continuously focus on how can you improve yourself. And not about how can I take myself today to tomorrow being Elon Musk, but how do you keep continuously moving forward? How do you have this mindset of continuously improving and acting as well, obviously, not just thinking, okay, I'm going to get better, but you don't actually do anything about it, but continuously improving. The next point I wrote down was about growing yourself. This is something that I hear from everyone. Somebody that I respect quite a lot is Bill Gates. He says if he was asked if he ever had a superpower, what would it be? And he said his ability to read faster. And I'd never heard anyone say that before, and it really makes sense because I thought, wow, yeah, if I could just, almost like imagining picking up a book and you could just feel all of that knowledge being passed into you and how powerful that would be, and being able to not just read it, but understand it, recollect it, I think would be tremendously powerful. And from the age of 16, I picked up a book called The Power of Positive Mental Attitude. And I'm afraid that I never finished the book. And I wish I had have kept going at that age, because I would be far, far further ahead than I am right now, because that book did make me realise how it was important to continuously improve myself. And it wasn't until probably 20 years later that I started to, well, I was 40. So I was around 40 when I started to understand the gift of reading, because I hated reading when I was at school. And when I finally realised that I didn't have to read Romeo and Juliet to like reading, I could actually read a book that was about how do I improve myself, that I thought, wow, if I can read books like this, then I want to keep reading, because I'm learning from this and it's making me a better person from this. Up to, kind of that age, you're just reading these books that don't make any sense, and you're reading books about topics that don't really make sense, like maths books, accounting books, and economics books, and all that history and geography. And it's like, well, this isn't really ringing my bell. So when you find those things that really juice you up, you just got to keep growing yourself. All of these people, all these successful people, they're growing themselves all the time. Bill Gates, richest person in the world at some point, and now he's not now, because he's still right up there, because he's given so much of his wealth to the great charities that he supports, the Bill and Melinda Foundation, and they do some fantastic work around the globe. But he still reads every day. Warren Buffett still reads about 5-6 hours every single day, just learning and growing. The other thing that stands out to me is that all of these people, they grow their health. They're focused on their health and wellness, because they know that wealth without health is being broke. And there are many examples around the world that people have been tremendously wealthy and are now no longer with us because of whether it was poor mental health or just their actual physical health that has caused them to decline. So I've noticed that these successful people, they all understand how important it is to be focusing on your body, growing your body, keeping it strong, keeping it healthy, but also nourishing yourself with the right foods and nutrients so that you can keep being strong and healthy and doing the things that you love doing. That's ultimately why we're doing it. We want to be energized, we want to be focused, we want to be healthy, we want to be able to continue making this fantastic contribution around the world in doing what we do and doing it in a way where we're in the best health possible. Imagine if Walt Disney wasn't so addicted to smoking and he lived another 20 or 30 years. Imagine what we would be experiencing now as a result of that. The other thing that I've noticed is that all of these successful people focus on growing relationships. And that's not just their personal relationships, but it's their business relationships, the people that they have around them, their support teams. They're continuously focusing on growing those things. Now, the super successful people, they're building relationships with a completely different level of person. They're dealing with the President of the United States, they're dealing with congressmen, they're dealing with other very successful CEOs, executives from other corporations. They're doing these, massive billion-dollar deals. They're dealing with leaders of other countries and doing those types of things. But what are they doing? They're building relationships. Always focused on building relationships, because it's through working together with others that you become better and that you can accomplish more. You can't build the tallest building in the world by yourself. You need to have a team around you to be able to do that. And it's the same with building your own success empire. So we have to keep focusing on building relationships. So can you see what I'm doing here? We're extracting the important principles of successful people that you can focus on. You don't have to, put yourself in a position where you just feel like this is unobtainable for you. You focus on the principles of success. That's the thing. The next thing that I would suggest is that what other people are doing that are successful is that they follow the models of success of other people, either in their field or just success in general. Like, I love following successful people and studying their success, how they were able to achieve the things that they were able to achieve, and looking for those common traits and how I can adopt those in my life. What are those principles that I can adopt in my life? And hence why I'm talking to you about this now. Yeah, am I ever going to be a Jeff Bezos? No. And you might say, well, that's holding yourself back. But I'm also realistic to say, well, no, I'm not going to do that. That's not going to be me. I don't feel like I have the skills to be able to create that. But I can still create an incredible amount of success for myself and continue to do that. Like, every single day I get up, I say, how can I be more successful today than I was yesterday? What can I be doing differently? And listening to different people speak and see what other people are doing in my industry and other industries to see, well, I really like what they do. I really like their values, their principles. I don't follow people where I don't resonate with their values and belief systems. I mean, I don't want to... it's got to be consistent. It's got to sit well within me. It's got to feel good, and that's what I do. And I just follow those people. So, like I say, I like the work of Bill Gates. I think he seems like a really good man, and that seems to fit really well. Someone else that I do admire, and he's got a weight loss program as well. But I really like Dr. Phil. I like the way that he thinks. I like the way that he talks. He's a straight shooter. I like the outcomes that he achieves. I've read a number of his books, and it's almost like I've written them myself. His weight loss book, I'd written Awaken the Sexy Within, and I'd read his Ultimate Weight Loss Solution, I think it's called, or Ultimate Weight Loss Program. And I thought, wow, this is the closest thing to what I believe and what I do than any other person I've ever read. And I thought, wow, this is really special. And I just love his approach. It's just really good. And again, his values and belief system as well is something that really resonates with me. So this is a couple of examples right there, but I think it's a really powerful thing. Follow those success models that you want to in your field or fields closest to you, or not even, to learn from them, how they conduct themselves, how they become successful. But here's the key that I would add to that. Don't try and be the Dr. Phil or the Elon Musk or whatever. Don't try and be them. Be you. They're uniquely them. And I'm sure if you interview them, they're not trying to be someone. They're just trying to be the best version of themselves and be as successful as they can be, doing the things that they love doing, making the difference with the right team of people around them, and innovating to create better and better solutions. That's the key. What you need to do is make sure that you add your flavour to it, your twist. Don't try and be someone else. Like, I think about the way that I coach people, and I think about the people that have influenced me. And so, well, the people that have influenced me in coaching, I say my parents have had an impact on my value and belief system for sure. So that influences the way that I coach. Tony Robbins was a big influence on helping change my life and changing my thinking style about 8 years ago. Really, really powerful. Recently, I mentioned about Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil, I love his approach. He's had a powerful impact on me as well. I would say that JT Fox has had a massive impact on me, more so than probably anyone else. Now, do I coach like him? No. I mean, but there are probably elements of, I see the way that JT coaches, and I think, actually, do you know what? Sometimes some people just need to hear it the way that they don't want to hear it, but they need to hear it that way because we need to get them to change. And unless they realise what it is that they're doing wrong, most likely their loved one is not going to tell them the truth. And sometimes the truth hurts, but I don't do it in the way that JT does. And I don't do it all the time. It's not my typical coaching style, but there are some times, some instances where some people need to get some tough love. So I use a combination of all those things and then add the twist of me to deliver it in my way, my style, so that it's not me. It's not like I'm saying, oh, well, I adopt a coaching style of this. It's just the way that feels natural to me. The way that I train people. Some people say, okay, well, I just train people via CrossFit. I just train people using kettlebells. I just train people by doing this. Or when it comes to the nutrition, I just train people in eating paleo. It's just keto. It's just X, Y, Z, whatever it is. And for me, I've found the approach that I live by and the approach that I know works. It's backed by science. And does everyone agree with it? No. Are there other approaches to doing stuff? Well, yes, of course there are. But this is the model that I use. And it works very effectively. So I've carved out my own niche in a very overcrowded market, but I get results and I deliver it my way. The key for me that is lacking big time in this space is the quality and level of coaching that goes into helping transform people's mindsets. And that's where I come up with the difference. That's my difference. It's coaching people's mindsets to be different and not just saying, well, just eat this food and just thrash yourself doing this stuff in the gym or with me. That's going to give you a result to some extent, but it's not going to be sustainable unless you change people's mindsets and get them to really understand that. So that's where I've done most of my work over the past probably 6-7 years on mindset, understanding, like I'm talking about here, successful people, understanding failure as well, understanding what's going through the mind of the person that is goes through binge eating, emotional eating, years of just not changing, years of being overweight, a lifetime of being overweight, the people that understanding the stories that they tell themselves and connecting with those, and then understanding how do we make the change in that person that has never changed. To me, that's really important and an exciting work. I love working with the mind. So that's a really important part, to make sure that you put your touch. You don't want to be what you're not. Okay, don't fake being someone else. If you're a really quiet, compassionate, loving, gentle person, then you're unlike, and you're trying to, say, replicate the really hard-nosed, harsh, yelling type commando style of instructing coach, that's not going to resonate with people. That's not going to naturally be you. I'll tell you one that's really interesting. I'm just looking at him on my wall here because as I was saying that, it made me think about it. So I met Tom Bilyeu. So he founded Quest and Quest Nutrition Bars, and great story. And he now does impact theory, and you hear him do some like on YouTube, you hear him do some motivational stuff. And when he speaks on stage and when he talks in a lot of these videos, he's over the top. He's like, you do this and you must do this. And he swears a lot. And he comes out on stage and he does the same things, like F this and F that. And then I got to meet him and have a photo with him. have a little bit of a conversation with him and overheard him talking to other people. And it's almost like you couldn't get anyone more opposite to the way that he is on stage. And it just, for the first time, made me think, because I've met, as many of you probably listening to this, have met many, many celebrities and everything. It just seemed fake. So being on stage, it seems like he puts on this fake, rough, tough persona with the obscenities and all that kind of stuff to, get across this point. But the reality is he doesn't seem to be like that. Like the way that I'm talking to you right now is the way that I just talk to anyone. It's just the way that I am. I don't fake, if I'm presenting to people, I don't, start ranting and raving and stuff. So I don't know what his story is, whether he's trying to be someone else. He's obviously very successful, but whether he feels like he needs to do that to, get his point across and stand out more, I'm not really sure. But be you and be what's naturally you. Add your twist to not being someone else, but use the success principles of others. And my last point would be, all of these successful people, they never stop. They don't have excuses. They just keep driving forward. They keep moving forward to be successful. And they don't rest on their laurels. So they might be successful on a particular venture or something. Like take a movie, for instance, and you say someone like Mel Gibson has a successful film and he doesn't say, okay, I'm done. That's it. No more successful films. Or Michael Douglas, for instance. I mean, man, the number of movies that he has done is just incredible. He hasn't just stopped. He keeps going and keeps going. And now he's working on the, Amazon, movies or, dramas and stuff. And just looking for different ways to innovate and be different. So like here's probably a great example actually. And I'm starting to see other people do it too. I think Kevin Costner, I've seen him do it. So obviously, if you just put your mind into, okay, I just make movies or I'm just a movie star, I'll just wait for the next movies to come out. But then of course Netflix came along and Amazon came along and Amazon's branching out into the movies just like Netflix. And I mean, they just had the Emmy Awards and I think they said something like 160 different nominations have gone to people like Netflix and Amazon, which just goes to show you how much they're innovating from being, say like a blockbuster streaming video service to now they're creating their own productions of movies. And of course, they're looking to get these movie stars to appear in these, whether they're weekly dramas or like series and stuff, where they're the main feature. It's becoming more and more prominent. And particularly with, I guess, the COVID lockdown too, these big budget movies, it's harder for them to get out and film these things, but they can film these smaller series, if you like, in different sets and lockdown sets, and whether it's at Universal Studios or Paramount or somewhere like that, where they don't have to be out in the public. They can just do it all internally, and they can get more done and get it done faster and still have incredible success and still keep the money flowing in for the production companies so that they can produce more and more of these things. They can keep paying the actors. It's just really clever and innovative. But they never stop. They don't stop. I mean, Michael Douglas could have stopped probably 30 years ago. But what was interesting in listening to him talk about why he keeps doing what he's doing is he said he loves his craft. He loves doing it. And he also said he's always looking to improve the way he's acting, just to bring across a better edge or something like that. It's just really good for him. So even at his age, and you think, wow, he's still looking at being better and better and better. George Ross, another one. So George Ross, he's 92 or something now, 93, still going strong, still focused on how can he keep improving, how can he stay strong and healthy and keep his mindset in his mind really active as well. It's really, really important. So the takeaway from here is often we can feel like being successful can be overwhelming. But when you break it down into those components, those principles that I've talked about, success for you may be different to success for Elon Musk, but it's about being successful for you and being as successful as you can be. And if you use these principles, you'll just keep stepping up that next level, that next level, that next level, that next level. Like where I am right now, for instance, is nowhere near where I was 30 years ago. Nowhere near where I was 20 years ago or 10 years ago or 12 years ago when I first started the business. Not even 5 years ago. My personal growth over the last 2 years has been really phenomenal, and it's really showing up in my business and my thinking and how I approach and certainly how I coach people. And what's happening from that? It's bringing more success for the people that I coach and bringing more success for me. So you have a great day wherever you are in the world. Stay safe. If you want to find how you can work with me more closely, you can go to thementaltoughnessandbodyshow.com. Scroll to the bottom and you can opt in for a free consult with me, and I would love to connect with you. Stay safe. I'll see you soon.